A lot of people are saying
That's pretty
going nuclear. Like Luka going nuclear. A lot of people are saying that nowadays.
Yeah, I'm hearing at least one.
Is he making a run at MVP?
Well, I like how Nick said earlier, he's got to be one of the first names that you mention for MVP.
Which could be 10 names.
No. But I would say, would it count? I don't have a ballot. Brew does. But if I was the guys I'm considering would be Shai, Wemby, Luka. That's one. Because to me, that would be my top three. And I think that Shai is going to win. I think he might even win by a wider margin than he did last year. And I think that he is deserving. But Luka's been ridiculous. He's playing incredible basketball, but he's been playing statistically great basketball all year. It has been translating to winning more recently. Right. And so I just pulled this stretch a little bit longer than the 7-game win streak, but just in the month of March.
Oh, I love this.
Well, Luka's been great. He's been incredible. 35 a game, 8 assists. They're 9-1. The problem is the guy who's the favorite for the MVP, who's the 1 seed.
Hasn't been as good?
Well,
that guy on the right hasn't been as good.
He hasn't. He's also taken 6 fewer.
The efficiency.
So we can reveal Shai as the guy on the right. In terms of wins, I think when you get a statistical argument like this, and Shai has 11 more wins than Luka, I think that is a totally reasonable tiebreaker to say. He's on the better team, but because Jalen Williams has been out for as long as he has, Shai is carrying as much of the load as Luka is.
I do not think Shai is carrying as much of the load as Luka is. I don't think that.
His second best players missed 2/3 of the season.
But his second best player is Chet, which is the guy we thought was supposed to be the second best player. They're 8-4 without him, right? They are the Thunder without SGA. I
say he's not carrying Luka has LeBron still playing at a high level and Austin Reeves with him.
Hold on,
2 big scorers.
What are you laughing about, Cade?
Nothing.
Do you think? Hold on, maybe I'm in the minority here with you. I would be shocked if you disagree with me on this. The Lakers without Luka, the Thunder without Shai. Which team's better? The Thunder are better.
The Thunder are also without Jalen Williams?
Because they haven't had Jalen for essentially this
vast
year.
majority of the season.
And the Lakers went through a long stretch without LeBron and a stretch without Austin.
Yeah, but not close. They've played twice. Those two have played essentially twice as many games.
I understand that. I understand that entirely. The idea that the Thunder, we were discussing the Thunder as this historical juggernaut that's not going to be stopped because they have all of this talent, these waves of young players. Again, I also think Shai right now is the MVP. But I think both of the leagues that we talk about the most, the NFL and the NBA, I think the media does the MVP wrong in both leagues. And I think it's the opposite. I think the NFL has skewed way too much to MVP is December Player of the Month, like it's just the finishing kick. And the NBA, it's way too much to whoever the MVP is on March 1st is the MVP. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's over. There is 20% of the season left, or 18% of the season left. And I think the general consensus is, yes, Luka's surging, but he can't catch him. It's an impossible.
Shai is still playing great.
I actually do think he can't catch him. I think he cannot catch him.
If Shai would have to really fall off. That's unlikely.
Exactly.
I think the other thing, I don't think it's even close to who carries the bigger load. Luka carries this load because that's how he plays. And Luka is sensational. Just one-on-one individual play, you don't see better in the league, all right? And you've rarely seen better historically.
Yeah.
But it's also there's still a question, is that the best way for them to play to win? He's a one-man show, even when I got LeBron James and Austin Reeves. Yes, he throws assists. Chauncey Billups once told me, he said, if I dribbled the ball for 15 to 20 seconds, and then I either shot or passed to the guy that's going to shoot, my numbers would be through the roof too. And I love Luka. I just gave him all these props as an individual player. But he doesn't have to carry this load for the Lakers. He's choosing to carry it because that's the only way he knows how to play.
But
he doesn't have to carry that load and play that way for the Lakers.
I mean, so I think that the way he is playing for the Lakers is the way that makes them the most dangerous. I think that he has shown that playing this way does lead to winning. It hasn't led to a championship yet, but it's, again, we're not even halfway through his career, and most guys have not won a championship at this point in his career. I think only Giannis won one of the contemporary guys, by by this moment of his career.
Where's Shai at?
Shai's older than Luka, but I think came into the league a year.
Shai's 27, right?
Yeah, Shai's a few months older than Luka.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we put up Shai, the point I'm trying to make is, I think it is closer than the conversation has allowed for. Here are their numbers for the year. Shai is clearly the better defensive player. Luka, in my opinion, is better at all aspects of offense. I think he's the better rebounder. I know he's the better passer. I think he is the better. I understand the three-point numbers. Oh, Shai's a better three-point shooter. I don't think that's true. He shoots a higher percentage, but Luka takes much tougher shots and much more. Right.
But he wants to.
What, Dan?
Well, even, doesn't that speak to the efficiency of the scoring for Shai?
Efficiency
Luka
is
an
fairly
amazing offensive player, and better scorer than Shai. I think we're parsing a very little thing here, but if the percentages are that much higher for Shai, I don't think you can say that Luka is a much better.
I said he's a much
scorer.
Said, hold on. I do think he's a much better scorer. I think he's a better three-point shooter, even though the three-point numbers, you agree with me, Brew, that all three-point percentages are not created.
Yeah, sure.
And so I
think Shai's gotten really a lot better at the three. Historically, Shai hasn't been a very good three-point shooter, but this year he's added that.
I think Luka's the best offensive force in the league, and I think that now at this, and they have played as the same amount of games. And I don't look at the Lakers supporting cast as better than the Thunder supporting cast. And again, I said on Twitter this morning, I'm saying now, I think Shai is right now clearly the MVP favorite and deserves to be. I just don't like, with 20% of the season left, that the MVP does. People said when I was on my working vacation, when Shai hit that shot against the Thunder, the universal response was MVP over. That the game when Shai hit the three against the Thunder, that it was okay. That was
Shai's on the Thunder.
I'm sorry, against the Nuggets.
Yeah,
Pardon me. When Shai hit the three against in that game,
because it was a big game.
A big game against Joker, and it was like, okay, everyone's fighting for second, and I just don't know.
I think Wemby is actually ahead of Luka.
Right, and that's,
And
so that's why I said for me it would be Shai, Wemby, Luka, because where in that equation does wins come in? Because last year, Shai won 16. I wrote it down. It was 18. It was 16 more wins than second place, 18 more wins than Joker. Right. That was the debate, right? It was between Shai and Joker. But it was his team had 18 more wins. Right. That has to matter. So if it was a Shai-Luka debate, and one guy's the one seed with the most wins in the league and in the tougher conference, and he's got 11 more wins than the Lakers, I feel like a double-digit win difference should tilt it to Shai. Whereas Shai having 4 more wins than Wemby, it's I'm willing to listen to a Wemby argument over Shai when their teams are that close.
I mean, Wemby's carrying a team that won 34 games last year. It's a much younger team. It's, so I think Wemby's second. I think Luka's making an argument to be on the ballot, not to win the award right now. Now, we'll see. I'm giving the last 20 games. We'll see how it goes. But Cade, if you're talking about record, well, first, if you're talking about statistics, Joker still is averaging a triple-double. Still on pace to lead the league in rebounds and assists for the first time ever. Now, his PR has come down. He's still got the best PR ever, but it's below 33, where nobody's ever hit 33. Now, their record is worse, though, and they're in the 6th seed, okay? But then you look east, Cade Cunningham certainly carries more of a load than Luka, and his team has a better record. If Cade doesn't have a LeBron James, again, I know it's not peak LeBron, but still a very good LeBron, and another second scorer, And then Jalen is interesting. They have a better record than the Lakers.
Or Jalen.
Jalen Brown.
Okay, I was
Jalen
gonna say,
Brown. Yeah, not Jalen Brown.
Ramsey's like Jalen Brunson. Finally.
So I think Luka is making his way onto balance.
So I guess here's my frustration. And by the way, on the three-point shooting thing, and thank you to Jeffrey for saying in my ear. Shai shoots 4 a game, Luka shoots 10. That's why I'm saying the guy who's shooting 36 and the guy who's shooting 38.
But Luka takes some bad. Look, I am a stickler now. Luka's style of play is questionable.
Well, so that's
it just is.
Until he wins a title, that's going to be what people say. I think his style of play has carried less talented teams further than their seed repeatedly in the playoffs. Not yet with the Lakers, but
and it can do that. Yeah. But can it get you all the way to the top?
Right, and he came up 3 wins short, to 2 years ago, and we'll see. But the point that I just want to make, maybe why I'm passionate about this, even though I don't think he's the MVP right now, is it feels like there is a bit of arguments that don't apply to other MVPs apply to Luka a lot. I'm hearing the record argument, totally fair, that's always applied, except for Joker, of course, who won the MVP as a 6th seed and won like that. Then we didn't care because the stats were so crazy. I hear all the time with Luka, the defense is disqualifying. In a league where Steve Nash, Steph Curry, Dirk Nowitzki, and Nikola Jokic combined for 9 MVPs this century. And so that to me
they showed more effort defensively than Luka.
I think Luka has
in spurts he shows effort.
And so I don't know how much effort Steve Nash was showing defensively.
I thought Nash he took a lot of charges. I think he was a smart communicative defender.
And so, but you understand what I mean? Like your defensive. If you're a great defensive player like Wemby, that helps you in the MVP race, obviously. But historically, for the league's scoring champ, who also is a great distributor, I didn't hear a bunch of, but what about his defense? But you hear it with Luka a ton, and that just feels a bit double standardish that bothers me. That's all.
Head to Detroit, where Cade is going to miss time after being diagnosed with a collapsed lung. He checked out of this game against the Wizards after diving on the ball. Danny, Detroit thought it was a collapsed lung, but he might be out for 3 weeks, might be out for 6 weeks. I read that it's 26 days on average, although, of course, everyone is different. What is your reaction to this latest news?
Yeah, I didn't 100% know that you could have a mild collapsed lung, which was, it just felt like those two things felt like they were in conflict with each other. So I think probably among us, I was the person who believed the least in the Pistons as a contender to come out of the East anyway, because
You love the Cavs.
I do like the Cavs. Hey, listen.
Do you still like the Cavs?
Jared Allen, James Harden, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell have played 3 games together.
Oh, yeah.
So we still have not seen.
It sounds great on paper.
We still have not seen the Big Four of the Cavs play a real
Four.
The Big Four.
They've got a Big Four in Cleveland.
They do.
And they're going out in the second round.
I didn't know they had a Big Four.
Get Jared Allen back to play with Mobley. It's going to be very nice. Just I see the vision. Okay, I see the vision for Kobe Altman there. No, I think that there's a chance, if I'm being very generous, that this could be a blessing in disguise if Cade comes back. Because to your point of how much of a burden.
Really, for Detroit?
Yeah, because to me, they try really hard. They are really well coached. They're probably going to get the 1 seed because they're 3.5 games up with the tiebreaker with 14 to go against Boston. But if you do points scored and assisted, because you were talking about the load that Cade carries. Actually, it is 4th in the league compared to 2 of the guys that we were just talking about. But it's a fun list to talk about, how much it would be a huge loss to any of these teams if these guys went out. But the difference is Jamal Murray has been amazing. LeBron and Reeves at times have been amazing. Chet has been great. The Thunder are the drop-off for the Pistons behind Cade, and I did put this one together also, there's so clearly not a second player. The next most for points is Duren, and it's a 5-point drop. For assists, it's a 7 assists per game drop. They desperately need a second playmaker. So Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, can someone step up?
No, Tobias Harris or Duncan Robinson? The answer is no.
That was the answer.
Okay, I'm just.
So your blessing in disguise is not just Cade gets a little rest. it's someone else starts creating offense.
They have to figure out a way to generate scoring chances when the ball is not in Cade Cunningham's hands, because this wasn't sustainable anyway. I love Cade Cunningham's game. He might be the starting point guard for Team USA in the Olympics in 2028. Maybe they'll win the title in the next 2 years. This to me is not sustainable through 4 rounds of an NBA playoffs. And so maybe for the next 15 games, you can figure something else out just because of opportunity and usage.
That makes sense. I mean, and that's an optimistic way to look at it.
It's
Nick
the most
brought up
optimistic I can
earlier
do.
that his win might not be the same when he gets back. And I get it. They got essentially a 4-game lead over the Celtics. If they fell to second, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. You wouldn't have home court in the conference finals, but I think they could beat the Knicks in the second round. They face the Cavs if they're the 1 seed, so it's going to be tough either way. But I don't see this as a positive. I think the rest of the East, I mean, I felt like Boston probably looks the best right now.
Yes.
But now, look, I think, Danny, if he's out longer than 3 weeks, if it dips into the playoffs and they play Atlanta or Orlando, not Orlando,
Charlotte.
or I guess they could end up facing
Orlando's
Orlando.
only, so that was Orlando's a half game up 6-7.
Yeah, it
but
could
I would
be
say,
Orlando.
Brew, wouldn't you say
Or Charlotte.
If Cade missed the first round if he missed the whole thing, I would make every one of those teams live against Detroit.
Yes, Orlando, Atlanta,
Miami,
Charlotte. Miami too. Yes, yes.
Philly has a terrible bottom, but like their best is
If Embiid's back for that, so Detroit could really be.
They could lose in the first
trouble.
round.
Yeah.
So, and we hope the best for Cade. It also will be criminal if he's not on an All-NBA team, which if he missed the rest of the season, unless Adam, by edict, changes the rule, which he should, and no one would be mad if he did. It'd just be a shame. He deserves All-NBA. I'm really glad. What would be the real shame is if this was one of those Supermax eligibility years.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're not even thinking about that. Like where it's like, this collapsed lung cost him $50 million. But thankfully he's already got his max deal. But my takeaway for the conference is, and this might not be fair, and I'm not trying to put more undue pressure on Jason Tatum, who came back months early from an Achilles, but it now will be stunning to me if the Celtics don't win the conference.
Wow, stunning. So if the Knicks, I hear you because I like them. They probably look the best right now. But if the Knicks beat them again,
if the Knicks,
you would be stunned.
I would be stunned.
Wow.
And so and I understand the Knicks-Celtics series has nothing to do with this injury, but the one team that they wouldn't have home court against, I now think is going to have a really hard time getting to the conference finals, because I think one of the mistakes we make in general in sports media is when a guy misses time, we're like, once he's back, we're like, he's back.
Right. Yep.
And usually it's like, no, especially if that's in the playoffs. So I don't want to say this is a season ender for Detroit, but it is a season shortener to me, which means Boston's going to be home through the playoffs. Tatum's only going to get better. And, I am not as fearful as, Danny thinks I should be of the big four. When they had LeBron, they didn't even have a big four. That was only a big three. Yeah. I mean, the big four.
I see the vision. It's a scary team.
And so I think it means, if it wasn't already Boston's conference to lose.
It's so strange.
It is now.
Have you on the Boston, not bandwagon, but.
No, I said it was before Tatum came back that I picked him to win the title.
I know. It's still
The title.
Yeah, he's all the way.
I picked Boston. Do you not watch the show?
I just
picked
blocked
Boston
that
to
out
win
of
the
my mind.
title.
It's crazy.
I remember.
I still feel like it's going to change over.
No.
Yeah, it will.
Well,
if the Lakers get first.
if we have a Lakers Celtics NBA Finals, I reserve the right to root against my pick.
Rule changes, courtesy of the Cleveland Browns. That's next.
Frenemies time. Happy Frenemies Thursday to all who celebrate. We begin in the NFL. This is a fun one. The Browns are proposing a rule change that would allow NFL teams to trade draft picks up to 5 years into the future. Currently, you can only trade picks up to 3 years into the future. The Rams president came out, he of F them picks fame with Les Snead as his GM. He's like, yeah, I'm on board. There have already been 6 first-round picks that have been traded. So, Nick, good idea, bad idea?
horrible idea that I'm guessing you like.
I like it more than you, but I actually agree with. You said earlier that you have to protect teams
From themselves.
And I actually agree with you.
Okay.
Like the NFL, the thing that it has going for it, a couple things obviously, but every game matters, every game feels big, and right now, what do you think? 20 teams believe they can win the Super Bowl?
More.
25?
Yeah.
Right, about 25 teams can talk themselves
Well, and
into.
there's only one. There is only one team whose fan base right now is not excited for the season. To Miami.
Yep.
Every other team, maybe the Jets a little, but the Raiders are psyched. The Titans are psyched.
Browns.
The Browns, I think Browns win total 6.5. They have soft schedule. They're like, I think that unlike baseball and certainly unlike the NBA, you don't have a third of the teams that are like 3 years from now, right? They're excited for the upcoming season.
So we actually are more in agreement on this than you expected us to be, but here's where I wanted to kind of pivot it and explore it. I do think the spirit of the idea is correct. I do think that if you're in a fantasy league where there are no trades, you're in a boring fantasy league. When we're on the air and the Micah Parsons trade happens, it is like a stop the presses moment that everybody loves and everyone has an opinion. It generates interest, it generates off-season buzz. In baseball, the trade deadline is an event. The leagues that have more movement transactionally, it builds interest in your sport in a way that the NFL, this is just on their trade deadline day, they don't have. So I do think something to juice trades in football. And now part of it is it's hard to go from one system to another and pick it up midstream in football compared to these other leagues. But I have a few ideas, but go ahead.
Just leave this up for a second.
Yeah.
To me, this graphic says if I run any of the other leagues, you know what we need?
Fewer trades?
Less trades.
See, I don't agree.
Certainly don't think the NFL should be like, hey, what's hockey been doing?
No.
More of that. What the NFL does works.
I agree what it does works, but it can be better.
Yeah, I don't think.
And again, at the deadline, it is tough because you're not going to trade a quarterback in season. He has to learn a whole new offense, or a receiver has to learn a whole new offense. Pass rushers can do it.
I love the NBA. I don't like that there seems to be more interest in the transactions than the games. And so I don't think that's positive. Baseball is, to me, different because I do like the buyers and sellers component of baseball, which is why there's so many trades. And a lot of that has to do with the specialization of we need a left-handed pitcher that's different. But what are your ideas with the
trade salary cap space? Only a year into the future. So I can't be a GM on the hot seat and trade salary cap space 5 years into the future or for the next 5 years, but we are willing to pay some of your cap for this year for a team to go for it because we want a draft pick in return to help our rebuild. Or do it like the NBA where you can trade draft picks a little further into the future, but you have to make a first round pick at least every other year.
Yeah.
Just some things to juice trades, because when you say you don't like that the NBA cares more about transactions than games, to me that issue is you got to make us care about the games more. Shorten the regular season, make the games feel more like an event. I don't think the transactional care that we have is a bad thing. And I do think the NFL could get a little bit more creative to get some wheeling and dealing going.
So the trading cap space, I think, is something you and I find interesting, and I think the average fan would have no interest in whatsoever.
But it would facilitate trades. You wouldn't just be trading $10 million. You would be trading $10 million and a pick for a player.
Yeah. So I think that that strikes me as maybe something that would lead to richer owners having a sizable edge that I'm glad they don't have so much in the NFL. There are things you can do about borrowing money from future years, things like that. But in general, the idea that to remove restrictions from how far in the future you can trade picks, I think is a horrific idea. And people say in the NBA, yeah, you can trade up to 7 years in the future, but you really can only trade a maximum of 4 firsts.
Correct.
And in the NFL right now, you can trade 3. So, because in the NBA, it has to be every other year you have your pick. And I do think that there is real damage that would be done to franchises for half-decade plus by desperate GM and absentee owner. And even though my team, I think, would benefit from this rule. One is, I think we have, like the Rams, they're a sharp team. They're like, yeah, remove the rules, let the dumb teams be dumb, we're the smart team. That it would benefit, I think, the Chiefs. Also, let me say this. When Patrick Mahomes is 37 years old, I want the Chiefs trading future for, I want them to treat the end of the Mahomes era like the end of the franchise. What I thought the Patriots should have done at the end with Brady.
Yep.
Forget the next phase. We're trying to maximize this window. But I think teams are too irresponsible. And I look at pro sports teams almost as like a public trust. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't want a GM on the hot seat to be able to kneecap the next half decade.
Yeah, I thought it was reasonable. Paul DePodesta, he's back in baseball, but he was a baseball exec who was, Jonah Hill played him in Moneyball. He was with the Browns for forever.
Yeah.
And then the Browns proposed this rule. I almost wondered if it was like a Moneyball carryover. Like they have baseball people in their front office that propose.
Yeah.
Because it's a very baseball idea.
All right, speaking of teams who have really screwed their upcoming and near and long-term future, the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay. I'm going to do this one because, Danny, so the Bucks want to shut Giannis down. Giannis doesn't want to be shut down. And I happen to be on set with maybe the only person in the world that wants Giannis to stay a Buck.
Well, other than diehard Bucks fans.
I think if you're a diehard Bucks fan, I think they're split at the very least over whether or not. Do you still want Giannis to stay a Buck? And do you still think he will stay a Buck? Because both of those were your takes. You want him to, and you think he will.
So do I want him to is easier. Yes, I still want him to.
Why?
Because, listen, man, the grass isn't always greener. Did it work out for KD leaving and going to all these different places?
I mean, I think in Golden State, yes. I think it got exactly what he wanted.
What he wanted, and then we kind of moved the goalposts on him, and I certainly judge that title as not. Like, I judge Giannis's 1 and Jokic's 1 as more impressive than KD's multiple, right? And so Giannis it's Dirk's career. He got the 1. He was an international player who was drafted, who was developed, who stayed there, who became a franchise icon, who's got the statue out front of the stadium. Giannis saved basketball in Milwaukee. They were going to move the team. The league owned the building. They have fired coaches. They brought in Drew Holiday. They brought in Dame. They did the stretch. They brought in Miles Turner. Some of it's worked. Some of it hasn't. Some of it's been bad luck. I do have a romanticism about Giannis in Milwaukee. Will he stay there? I don't know that either one of these teams has it in them.
You mean Giannis or...
Yeah. These parties involved. I don't know that either one of them have it in them to be the bad guy.
Well, the Bucks need to grow up then.
I agree. That's reasonable. That is a totally reasonable stance. But Giannis saying, I'm hurt, okay, I don't care, I want to play, that's just who he is and who he's always been.
I totally respect that Giannis heard you bought 36 tickets to a Bucks game here in 10 days.
You keep inflating the number. It's 16. I'll see you against the Clippers, Milwaukee.
And he wants to play in that game. I also respect that if Giannis is if this is going to be his last year, he wants to have a final home game that he knows is going to be a final home game.
Yep.
I respect all of that. I reject the Dirk comp because Dirk got his title so much later than Giannis. He hadn't won yet. Got it later, and then at the very end when they weren't great, he was no longer great. This team has no shot of competing at any point during the remainder of Giannis's prime, even if his prime is another 3 or 4 years.
Well, let's see what happens in the lottery. Because I don't think that they would, like, if they get the 5th pick in the draft, I think that what they would talk to Giannis about is, let's see who the best player we can trade the 5th pick is for.
And that would be a disaster, man.
Well,
that would be a further disaster. And so I don't blame Giannis for not demanding out. I do blame the Bucks for not just taking the onus of, we're in charge, and the best thing for us, forget Giannis, the best thing for us is to trade him. And so I think it's obviously the best, and I think Bucks fans would celebrate another Giannis title the way, I always forget this hockey player, the Boston hockey player that won the title in Colorado, and then they threw a parade for him. But like Ray Bork,
Ray
was
Bork,
it?
yeah.
Thank you. And I think they could live. The only chance Bucks fans have to watch high leverage playoff games that matter to them in the next 3 years is to be watching Giannis play for someone else.
And what if Giannis gets traded to a team and it doesn't work out there?
Here's the thing. It might not work out. He might not win a title. There is no shot that he gets traded to a team and they're hopeless. And the Bucks are hopeless. Danny,
Listen, in the East,
they're
man,
they're in the East, and they're 7 games out of the 10 spot.
He's been hurt.
Danny.
Ryan Rollins, a new coach, a top 5 pick that you trade for an asset. You do something creative with Miles Turner. Listen, man.
Do something creative with Miles Turner. They did something creative to get Miles Turner. That was a disaster.
I agree with you. It has been. Listen, man. I'm the guy in the Titanic that closes the door and goes down with the ship. I want you to think of me that way.
And I'm the guy saying, hey, there's a lifeboat here, get on it. And you're like, no, I have good memories about this boat. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I am a basketball romantic for Giannis in Milwaukee.
Okay.
You can roll your eyes at it, man. There is something to a guy being in one place for an entire career and having won a title there.
And there's something to Giannis at 32 not foregoing any opportunity he has to play in big games again, which is what you're advocating for. Or that somehow they're going to turn Ryan Rollins and Miles Turner into a real player. It's not going to happen.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Side bet?
Any amount you want.
Side bet? Are you sure?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.